Good morning, Rabbi Isai. I apologize. I printed so many charts today. What happened was, people sent me, especially Moshe Weiss, I have to say thank you to him, the new Kol Al-Shon. I don't know if it's new or old, but Kol Al-Shon, it seems like everybody's been getting it yesterday, the day before. This is a lifesaver. And if you recall, in Masechtas Reuven, they made it a lot of fun. The guy spent close to $1 million on a sefer, and now, once again, a beautiful sefer. So it was like a kid in a candy store. I was printing away, and I forgot to print the sponsorships. So, Mechila, money back guaranteed, sponsored by Lubin, אחותי, ליבא, גילה, אלין, שושנה, מוישה, דוד, לובין, שיבלחט, Chaim, toivim, arukim, שנקטפה בדמי ימיה. She was nifter very young, Yud Beis Shvat, Tovshin Ayin Daled. We believe he's from Belgium. And L'zeicha Nishmas, Reuven ben Chaim Yitzchok by the Blech and Addi families. The Neshama should have an aliyah. Rabbi Isai, two incredible emails. We spoke a lot about how the daf changes a person. Changes a person becomes a better person, a better husband, a better father. Listen to this email from Dr. Yomi Pesachim from Lakewood. My research team says he's an anesthesiologist. He doesn't say it, but as I zogman, anesthesiologist. He's not the only one. Morty Dauber. Good morning, Rabbi. To the Niggin, good morning, Rabbi Isai. First, let me thank you for inspiring me to keep holding on to the daf. I've been with you since Brachas, and I don't think I've missed any of your shiurim. I drive home in Lakewood, New Jersey, from my home in Lakewood, New Jersey at 5:30 a.m. to Atlantic City, New Jersey, to the hospital where I work. It's an hour commute, and it's perfect to listen to you give the daf every day. I've struggled for years to find someone I could learn with that would keep me going. Reb Eli, you're the one of the few that's inspired me and kept me going. I can't thank you enough. I'm trying to make an aliyah in my life, not only in learning, but in general. Your encouragement has pushed my wife and I to try to go strictly yoshan. Finally, somebody's going strictly yoshan. I have a daughter that's makbid on yoshan. Time for us too, I guess. Since we live in Lakewood, there's almost no excuse. Taking trips might be more complicated, but we're really going to start trying to be careful thanks to you. Another area that I'm trying to make an aliyah is in my phone. I've decided to delete all the news and video apps. Amazing. And all the social media, just leaving me with my Torah, email, and business apps only. It's unbelievable. This is tremendous. Tremendous. These are the best emails ever. I really want to get rid of WhatsApp, but I'm hesitant. Why? Listen to this. Because I love the new newsletter. So I want to ask if it's possible that the newsletter and the Ibn Daf links could be sent also via email so I can get rid of my WhatsApp for good. Yes, you can. It's available in email. It's now available on the app. Everything is good. So that's it. He's done with WhatsApp. Dr. Fisgus, you can't even reach him anymore. Thank you so much for making the daf a pleasure. With Hashem's help, I hope to celebrate with you in 6 more years, a seam of all of Shas. May continue to inspire thousands. With much gratitude, Yomi Pesachim. Love this email. Here's another incredible email. Again, good morning, Rebelli. Thank you again for the wonderful shiurim. I can also sing along to the beautiful niggin of You Mamish Change My Flight. This is one of the best pictures anybody's ever sent me. I'm literally thinking about hanging this up in my house, in the living room, but maybe it's not so tznius. I wouldn't have thought of learning on the plane if not for you and the chevra, so thank you. Another guy that changed the way he flies. He learns Torah in the flight. Wishing you and the entire MDY family a great day. Amichai Gez, a.k.a. Anonymous. Check this picture out. Incredible. His kids are all over him. Some of them are dressed, some of them are not. There's another kid over here, but I wanted to zoom in, and he is completely immersed in the daf. Unreal. Gewaldige picture. I love that kid's expression. In the middle of the night, you see it's dark on the plane, the light is shining on this Gemara, unreal. All right, here we go. We have a lot of geschmacka pictures that will bring psachim and karbanis to life, thanks to Kol HaLashon. Today is Daf Samachay, and we are holding 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 lines from the bottom. Kibel es hamolei umachzir es hareikon. So, start off right away with pictures. There's going to be, I don't know if I can do all the pictures. There's just so many and so beautiful to life. One kohen gives the beziach, and you can see how it's pointed on the bottom. It's full of blood. He gives it to this guy, to this kohen who's barefoot, stepping on the stone floor. After he receives the full one, he gives the empty one. And what does he do? He puts it on the yisoid of the mizbeach. Aval ibchaloi, you don't take the empty one and then give the full one. If a mitzvah comes to your hand, you take care of it right away. I was instrumental in having one of the students in Chicago become a Baal Tshuva. We traveled to Eretz Yisrael, and the whole thing came to me for Shabbos, and finally became a Baal Tshuva. So I said to him, here, take the Kiddush cup, pass it down to the next guest. So he drinks it. The next morning, I look at him, I said, don't drink it, pass it to the next guy. He looks at me, what's going on? He says, Ei mavirin ala mitzvos. I was like, okay, whatever. So anyways, Ei mavirin ala mitzvos. A mitzvah comes in your hand, you grab it and you go weiter. So who learns that Korban Pesach, the blood, you throw it? Remember the other day, what was it, 2 days ago? Bruria called this Rabbi Yossi Aglili. Here's one of the places, many, hundreds in Shas. She called him Glili Shaita. It keeps on ringing in my head. How you call a Gadol Adar Glili Shaita. The Tanya Rabbi Yossi Aglili Omer. As damam tizrek al mizbeach v'schel bam takter. Look at this pasuk. This pasuk is talking about a bachar. Take their blood, the many bloods, and their chalavim, the many fats. But we're only talking about one. We're talking about a bachar, singular. So why does the Torah use plural? As damam. Obviously, it's coming to tell us not only the bachar, which is one type of carbon, but other karbanos also, Meiser and Pesach, which the Torah doesn't describe what to do with it. These three are the exact same. Shem tu'unim, matan, domim, ve'emurim, legabim, mizbeach. You throw it on to mizbeach. Minolan tu'unim yisoid. And how do I know that it goes over here on the base of the mizbeach? There might be a better picture coming up. Yeah, there is here. Once we're here, here's the beziach. Here's that one amma yisoid that goes on two sides of the mizbeach. Shevet Binyamin versus Shevet Yehuda. Whole sugya. Are you able to see? It looks like it's a little washed out. Okay. How do you know that's the yisoid? Over Lazar, Asi Zrika Zrika Ma'ila. It's Xeris Shava from Ma'ila. Ksiv Hacha is done in Tizrag al Mizbeach. It says over here, you throw it on Mizbeach. Ksiv Hasam is Zokim Ni'arak Na'ayim is done on Mizbeach. Saviv, again, Lashon is Zrika. Ma'oila Tuna yisoid. Just as the oila, you need to put the blood not on the mizbeach, on the base of the mizbeach. Of Pesach nami ton yisoid daf samachay Amud Aleph. V'oila guva min olon. And how do I know that an oila goes on the yisoid? Amakra el yisoid mizbeach oila. When you do an oila, it should be on the yisoid. Alma oila tuna yisoid. Great. Says the Gemara. It says in the Mishnah. Yotzes kas rishayna. There were three groups of people. We said minimum per group, 30 people. Kahal, Adas, Yisrael. Dana, he nikras kas atzlonis. Unbelievable. The third group are called the lazy ones. Ask the Gemara, you need three groups. Somebody has to be part of that group, so why are you calling him lazy? May I have a little mebad? What should he do? You be there on time. You let somebody else be late. Don't be a big tzaddik and try to be from the third group. You're from the third group. You're lazy. Rabbi Isai, let me read you another email real quickly. I thought it was very, very appropriate for today. This is from Yaakov Ben Zion Trigger. He says, hi, I always wanted to go walking and finish Shas. I do both together, walking between Caesar's Bay and the Verzano. So that's very good, because I also, when I'm on the treadmill, I do chazar. It's geschmack. Try it out. Put a stender, Gemara, go slower. You don't run. You go 7 miles an hour. So he goes between Caesar's Bay and the Verzano Narrows Bridge. That's how my mother used to call it. The Verzano Narrows Bridge. Thanks for the great cheer. Now, this is why I'm reading this. Keep on making fun of Hasidim, Sephardim, yeshivish people, and yourself. Yankiv ben Tzin Trigger. He has the right to say, keep making fun of Hasidim. He's a emes chassid. But what I thought is amazing, I just got this email the other day, and right behind him is Shkia. And it's perfect. Because in the Mesifta, which is written by Hasidim, they go on a whole thing. They just go on about how you shouldn't daven mincha right by Shkia. It brings the Maharit. It says in our Gemara that whoever pushes things off to the end, atzlanim, lazy people. And the Gemara in Bracha says in Daf Amud Beis that those who daven mincha right before Shkia, they got cursed. They were cursed. Why? Because you might forget it. As I zog the Maharit, he says it's not right to do it, and kol magdim harezim mishulbach. If you do it, zrizim magdim lemitzvahs. He goes on and on and on. Now, I know you're going to say I'm chopping chasin too much. First with the yashin, but here's a guy that keeps yashin out. Then with the marar, what else did I make fun of recently? Not fun, chas v'shalom. We don't make fun of chassidim. We love chassidim. But listen, I'm trying to help them out a little bit. Get on the bandwagon with the mitzvahs. They're going to say, okay, but our minig is and our rebbe. And I'm just telling you what the halacha says. Now, the Aruch HaShulchan, the Hasidim love. We don't go in the Shibur. We go with Aruch HaShulchan. Making kiddush for themselves. That's right. That was the last thing. Right. It's time cheparais, part of the shtick. But the Aruch HaShulchan says you have to scream at those who daven mincha close to Shkia. But what's the reason that the Hasidim daven mincha right by Shkia? Because the Arizal used to daven by Shkia. The Arizal, that's it. Once the Arizal does, there's nothing you could say. However, the Ben Ish Chai was very upset that people daven by Shkia, and he says, but what about the Arizal? The Arizal had a minion, says the Ben Ish Chai, that used to wait a long time before Shkia, and they were ready to go, and they just waited for Shkia. But if you run into shul the last second, there's going to be a time that you're going to miss it by a minute or so. You're going to be after Shkia, and then it's not Kedai. So I said it. I got Rishus from Trigger to make fun of Hasidim. The Mesifta was written by Hasidim. They make fun of themselves. The kids are fine. Zok the Gemara. Kedetani Rebbe Oimer. Listen to this unbelievable Gemara. They should have been careful and run ahead. The world cannot exist without people that smell perfume, that sell perfume, and without people that work the hides. But the hides are the smelliest of the smelly. Ashrei mi shum nosei basam, oiloi mi shum nosei bursi. Obviously, you would prefer to work in a job, not as a garbage guy or a guy that cleans out those portable toilets. You prefer to have if that's what you need to do, that's what you need to do. Oiloi lemishum nosei bursi. This one we're going to skip the next line. Ashrei mi, no, that line also. Okay, fine, we'll go back. The world cannot exist without nekevos. Ashrei mi shebonav zecharim. He's zoicha to have zecharim that will keep his name and do all the mitzvahs. Oiloi lemi shebonav nekevos. Shebonav nekevos. Well, if your son is a nekeva, it's a real bad thing, and in our generation, we know exactly what that means. Okay, no. But Ayin in the Mesifta brings a ton of stuff. I just remember Rav Chizda, I forgot to look it up, but Rav Chizda is the one that said, I'd much rather have daughters, because he only had daughters, much rather have daughters than sons. Ayin Sham B'chulu.
You get to pick your son-in-law.
Exactly, that's what they say over there. You get to pick your son-in-law, you get to pick the Torah that comes to your house. Fakert. They said that a son-in-law, what was the thing? No, the opposite. That when it's your own son, that's one of the pshat of why it's oily lebaram. Over here, that's exactly what I saw. The opposite, that your daughter chooses the son-in-law. Your daughter chooses the Torah that comes into your house. It's not your choice, but it's your son. It's you, so to speak. Okay, fine. Says the Gemara, Kemaseu b'chol. That during Shabbos, they did everything that they did on the weekday. But when they cleaned the Beis Hamikdash, shalei beratzon. It wasn't beratzon chachamim. Chacham didn't agree to it. Says the Gemara, shalei beratzon man. Who's this chachamim? Rav Chizda shalei beratzon Rebbe Eliezer. Rebbe Eliezer holds, as we're going to see, that you should not sweep on Shabbos. You shouldn't do sponge on Shabbos. It's Issa D'Oraisa. The Rabbanon harmi shvusu. cleaning on Shabbos is only Issa D'Rabbanan. Vein Shvus B'Mikdash, and we know there's no D'Rabbanans in the Beis HaMikdash. Ma'i, where does it say this whole thing? The Sanya. Echad HaChoylev, milking on Shabbos. What's this to milk? Mefarek. We had in, again, I forgot to look it up, but I'm sure it's there. Daf Tzadikei, I think it is, because it's brought on the side here, but I did not look it up. I think that's where the Gemara is, that the Gemara goes through the whole thing. Choylev is mefarek, because, what are you, a katlikanya? Remember that famous lashon? My father used to call me a katlikanya. And so I know the lashon. He used to use the... Katlikanya means like, what are you, no, okay, whatever the lashon. You're nobody, you don't know your stuff. Choylev, you're over mefarek. I'm a chabet. So, mechabetz is you're curdling the milk, that's boyer. V'amigaben, making cheese. Remember what migaben is? Shosna, boina, building cheese. All these three, kigregeres, like a dried fig. Hamechabed, and this is what we're looking for. Sweeping the floor, v'amirabet, sprinkling water on the floor, because you know those days the floor is made out of dirt, so you want to dust it down a little bit. V'aroide chalois tvash, you take out the honeycombs, what is that? That's toilish. B'shoyig b'Shabbos chayiv chadas. If you do it on b'shoyig on Shabbos, you chayiv chadas. B'mezid, of course, if there's no asra, you don't get anything. Heiziv yantiv, loikes arabayim. If there's asra on yantiv, you get malchus. On Shabbos, misa. Divrei Rebbe Eliezer. V'achachomim ma'imrim echad zeh v'echad zeh einu elim mishum shvus. So Rebbe Eliezer is the opinion that it's Issa D'Oraisa. So that's what he says you shouldn't do it in the Beis HaMikdash. Chacham say it's only the Rabbanon Rav Ashi Yomar. Afilu teim shalei b'rotzen Chachamim. It could go according to everybody. Rebbe Eliezer, Chachamim. You said it's only the Rabbanon. So if it's the Rabbanon, why is it Asur? Reb Nasani, the Sanya Reb Nasan Oimer Shvus Tzricha Yitiru Shvus She'ena Tzricha Lo Yitiru. Similar to what we said yesterday. If you have a hammer, you shouldn't be using a hammer on Shabbos to break open a coconut if you have another tool. If you could get away without, you don't have to clean the floor, so even Issa D'Rabbanan is also in the Beis HaMikdash. That I say that it's mutter to do Issa D'Rabbanan in the Beis HaMikdash is only when you need to do it. But over here, you don't need to clean the floor. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Chos Hoyav Mimalei. So it says in the Mishnah, Rabbi Yehuda would say, there was so much blood, we're going to see soon, the blood came up to their knees. So he would bend down at the end of the day and grab 1 cup of blood and sprinkle that cup on the yesod of the mizbeach. So it explains the Gemara. From all the blood that was mixed in there, just in case 1 cup of blood, there's so millions of cups. Millions? We had 400,000 korbanos. Okay. We had yesterday 12 million people, 1.2 million korbanos, right? 1.2 million korbanos because it's 1.2 million kloyos. Okay, fine. So 1.2 million out of 1.2 million, it's very possible it slipped and it fell on the floor. And that guy, if you don't do zrika on the side, that person doesn't have a kapara, his carbon pesach is no good. So therefore, Rabbi Yehuda says, let's just grab 1 cup. We had already, I forgot, one mesechta, chulin somewhere in Zval. All the blood is connected, it's liquid, so yes, you're right, his blood is right over here, but since liquid is all together, I grab from here, I grab from there, I'm grabbing from everywhere, if I grab from one place. But wait a minute, there's no Kabbalah. Kabbalah has to be, you grab it in a kli. I'm not going to go look for the picture now, maybe I should. Later on, we're going to see what Kabbalah looks like, beautiful, everything. In one daf, we have it all. Shchita, Kabbalah, Ilach, Zrika. Here we go, here's Shchita, here's Kabbalah. Beautiful picture. Here's a guy shechting an animal. He takes the golden kli, puts it right by the incision, and grabs the blood. That's what Kabbalah looks like. I don't know if we ever pictured that in our head. I always thought it's, a foot away. Here it is. Great. So, you have to do Kabbalah, but it fell on the floor. Says the Gemara, okay, it's talking about, I'm trying to grab the blood that did have Kabbalah. Everything was good up until the point that it fell. Why would I say such a thing? That there was Kabbalah and it fell? They didn't miss it. They didn't do a shechita that didn't have Kabbalah, there was Kabbalah. So it says the Gemara in Manavshach, if there's so zaris and they never miss it, they don't miss a beat, is reason they didn't miss the Kabbalah, but it fell on the floor. Says the Gemara, yeah. They're flying with the kelim back, forth. They have to grab this one first, that one second, and they're dancing. They're going to the left, to the right. Fell. That, yes, that's possible. Kabbalah, probably not. Now, as we learned earlier in the Masechta, there's different types of blood. Chulin, 3, 4. There's the dam shanefesh yaitza. First, it comes out black, then red. Reuven Weiss says you don't really see it today, the black. The point is, there's dam shanefesh yaitza. This is the blood with that. That's how the animal dies. Later on, it just keeps on coming out. The animal can be completely dead for a minute, and it keeps on coming out. That blood, as the Gemara, that's all over the ground, is going to ruin the good blood of shana shama yaitza. Let's call that blood 1 liter. The rest of the blood of the animal is 10 liters. So isn't it batal b'roiv? You have the dam of the shana shama yaitza on the floor, mixed in with 10 other liters of blood that's not for the mitzvah. Dam atamtzis. And it's going to be mevatel, the good blood, b'roiv. Says Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda Tamei, Domer dam atamtzis, dam alyu. No, Rabbi Yehuda says, I could use all blood. Everything is good. Everything is fair game. The sanya dam atamtzis ba'azara, that eating, drinking blood, doesn't matter what blood, even the blood that's after Shana Shamat Luyaba is also your over on Kores, Rabbi Yehuda be Kores. It's not just Azara, it's Kores. But I have a problem because Rabbi Yehuda said that at the end of the day, you don't get a kapara for it. In other words, if that's the blood that you catch in the kli, you don't put it on the mizbeach. It's not mechaper, the bailim, so the person would have to bring another korban pesach. You didn't gain anything by picking it off the floor. Ki adamu banefesh yichaper. It's the blood that's the neshama tluyiba that the animal dies with. That gives you yichaper. Now we're turning to Daf Amud Beis, sponsored by Gedalia Fenster L'Refuah Shleima of Yerachmiel Daniel Ben Tova Basha. Dam shanefesh yotzeh bo mechaper, dam shanefesh yotzeh bo ein mechaper. Elo, Rabbi Yehuda L'Tamei D'Omar, you're right. So we have dam atamtzis. We have all this blood that doesn't count, it doesn't give you kapara, it's laying in the floor, and it's 90% of that blood and 10%, let's say, I'm just throwing it out there, 10%. Wow, the lights are off. 10%. You guys got to come visit this piece of marriage one day. 10% is the neshama tluyaba, and it gets mixed in. It's batal b'roiv. No, it's not batal b'roiv. You know why? Min b'minoi, says Rabbi Yehuda, loy batal. If you have the same minim, blood and blood cannot overcome each other, and therefore the dam shanefesh yotzeh is in that blood, and that's what I'm picking up off the ground. Says Rabbi, let's pick up 1 cupful and toss it on the mizbeach just in case something happened. There was a problem during the day, and a cup of blood fell. I'm going to recapture it and be mitzi that guy without him even knowing about it. Says the Gemara, Tanya. Let's just stop for a pause for a second. Naftali Harish Shalom Aleichem. What happened? Oh, Yisrael Chayfetz, Shalom Aleichem, Rabbi Yisrael Chayfetz, a newer person. And Daddy Kornbluth, oh, you called me a few days ago. Shalom Aleichem, how are you? Sorry. Who else? Okay, the rest of the people, guys, you got to come out of behind the screen. Mayor Sherman, I know what you look like, so you should stop hiding yourself behind that screen. I used to play basketball with him. All right. I don't remember what basketball is. I remember this, the zach, exactly what it is and how it feels. I will tell, yeah, some sort of ball. But I did gain 20 pounds since I stopped playing. Zok the Gemara, Tanya, Omar lohem Rabbi Yehuda lachachamim, l'devreichem, lama poikikim es hazara. In the hazara, as we mentioned yesterday, there's a stream of water that goes through the hazara. So why in the world do we plug it up? Doesn't it make sense that all the blood should drain out? Have you ever been to a shlachtois? That blood it's pretty gross, I think. You think. It's gross. Stam, svara. So you have a plug, you have a drain, let it go. Why are you plugging the drain b'dafka? Oh, says Rabbi Yehuda, you know why? Because I want to capture all the blood, and at the end of the day, grab 1 cupful, just in case somebody wasn't yaitza. That's why I'm doing that. Amrullah, you got it wrong. This is dam of korban pesach. Imagine, I was thinking to myself, all these guys from Klal Yisrael, they come with their brioni suits, their nicest suits. It's Erev Pesach, they're going to shech the korban pesach. You come and you step in all that blood. That blood is 2 feet high. It comes to your knees. And why do you do it? Because it's geschmack. The chibas ha-mitzvah. The beauty. We're going to be doing this very soon. Get ready. Don't come with your boots. The Kohanim go bare feet. And there, says the Gemara, v'kochayetz. So, where's that picture? I think we had it. Oh, here it is. We have halacha that you're not allowed to be chaytzitz. There's chatzitza between the bottom of your feet. The kohen goes barefoot, and the stone. There can't be anything between his foot and the stone. What about all the blood on the floor? It's causing a chatzitza. When he's doing all the avodas, the shchita, the zrika, whatever he's doing, he's stepping on blood. If you're telling me that there's blood up until his knees, says the Gemara, lachu ve'enu chaytzitz. It's liquid. Liquid doesn't create a chatzitza. We learn mefurish, hadam, v'hadyoi, v'hachola, v'hadvash. These are the liquids. Blood, ink, milk, honey. Yeveshim chaytzitzim, if they dried up. So you go to the mikvah, it's chaytzitz on your body. Lachim, if you have some moist ink on your... I had ink here. Oh, here it is. Nothing to do. I didn't do it on purpose. It wasn't like for demonstration. I was changing cartridges this morning, got all over me. But that dam, once it dries, that ink, once it dries up, it's a chatzitza. V'ho kometav simonayu. As the Gemara, like in this picture, look, his beged becomes dirty. And it's asur to do the avodah with a dirty beged, the kohen's special beged. That says it's not. If his beged was dirty and he did the avodah, avodah psula. It doesn't count. So everything, it's impossible to get out of this. Look how long his beged is. It goes all the way to his ankle, and the blood is all the way up to his knee. So how is it possible that his beged is not full of blood? And if it is full of blood, then his avodah, shchita, zrika, kabbalah, ilacha, everything is off. So he lifted it up, picked it up above his knee. We learned it. I forgot where and how, but something about they had to sew the beged up to his armpit, something. It was very difficult to sew. That was one of the avodas that was very difficult. I'm forgetting. But kitzer, it has to be fit. The beged fits him exactly. It shouldn't be long or short. It shouldn't be broigus. When my parents, I was in Panovich as a 14-year-old, and my parents moved back to America, so they left me there. So I saw recently a picture of me in Panovich after my parents left me. It looks, I'm not exaggerating, something like this. This is my jacket. I'm walking like this. I didn't realize that was short on me. Like my parents left, and my hands just grew. I grew a lot in those few months, and I didn't have parents to help me out. So I'm walking around. I thought it was normal. My pants were broigus with my shoes. They're like 17 inches above my shoes. And my thing is this. That's I'm walking around in Bnei Brak. Okay. That's asur. That is asur, Rabbi Isai. You can't go to Panovich like that. You can't go longer, you can't go shorter. The lav avodahi. Says the Gemara, you're right. When you're performing the avodah, you can't be dirty, and they weren't dirty. We're talking about that they were dirty when they went into the blood when they were bringing the ivarim up the ramp. That's not avodah. Says the Gemara, at the end of the day, it is an avodah because only kohanim can do it. The sanya v'ikra kohenes hakolam is beicha zoyalach zevarim lakevesh. Ella bahilachas eitzim. This is the end of the sugya for that. This is the maskana. We're talking about that they went in the blood with the wood. The lav avodahi. And that was the chavivus ha-mitzvah. They loved the mitzvah so much that they went in the blood to carry the wood. Says the Gemara, okay, shkoyach, so we find out that the way they went in the blood for the wood. Didn't they do a million other things there? They were doing zrika, this, that, everything else. What happened to the blood when they were doing that? Says the Gemara, the mazgi aitstabi. There's itztabas over there. The bleachers, when you go to Tish, those things, what are they called? Trenches. The stabas. When I was 18 years old, there was a guy in Chaim, Berlin that was getting married, and of course, you have to be Chesed, you have to go to his wedding. Nobody else is going. So me and one other guy, we decided to go to his wedding. A whole long mice, I'm not going to go into it, how I sold boss suits. I put up signs in Mendelssohn's Pizza, whoever wants a boss suit, $400. First I went to Manhattan to, what was that store that had 6 floors of suits? No, not Sims, Chas v'Shalom. It was a very fancy store. Every, what? Maybe Barney's. Maybe that's, every floor was a different company. Armani, Boss, Brion. Kitzer, I go there to find out the price is $2,000 of suits. I said, I'm going to sell for $400. I found out in Stuttgart, in Germany, you could buy a boss suit for $200. Look, so if I just double the price, Kitzer, I sold suits, mess. I brought a chas in a suit that was 14 sizes too big. Anyway, so, yeah, but the geschmack. So, I'm part of the tour, part of going to his wedding was to go to Venice. So you go to Venice, me and my friend, and I was wearing a green neon cap because I thought that nobody would realize that I'm Jewish. And he comes flying over to me. You're Jewish. Come with me. I have some kosher food. Kid's an Israeli guy. He gives us food. 6 o'clock in the morning, he wakes us up. He starts shaking us. He goes, you got to get out of here. There's a big siren going off. I have pictures of this. What happened was Venice flooded. It happens all the time, they say. The water just came up to here. And what they do is they build itztabas. They know what's happening. They build sidewalks that are 3 feet off the ground or whatever. Just elevated sidewalks. People are carrying their children, their wives on their shoulder. They all have boots that come up to their waist. They know how to do it. And all the tourists are walking on these things. Unbelievable. Itztabas. I should have brought that picture, but I didn't have it here. It's in America. The water up to here, and people are you have it? You were there when it happened? Gary was there also. That's what it looked like. They had blood up to here, and it stopped on top. And you walked on top because you couldn't get the bottom of your garment, couldn't touch the blood, because if it did, the avodah is possible. Says the Gemara, you got to see these pictures. Rabbi Isai, it's unbelievable what he did here. First of all, this is going back to yesterday. Chaval didn't have this yesterday. You see these beautiful hooks? Unreal what they did here. You have these amudim, these pillars with hooks. Here's an animal hanging, catching the blood. Great. Now, the Mishnah also says, if you don't have those hooks, you know what you could do? You have these sticks laying around. Rebbe Lezer said it was muktzah, not muktzah. Here's 2 guys literally demonstrating. It's unbelievable, bringing Torah to life. You hang the animal over here, and you fillet it, you de-skin it, you whatever you call it. Here's a picture of koiroi. You cut it open. Here he has a razor blade. I don't know if they had that in the Beis Hamikdash. And you take the innards out. What do you do once you have the innards? I thought I printed that picture. Maybe not. Here we go. Oh, there's a very, very good picture that we're going to use for the rest of Shas. Not in the right order. Come on, I didn't print that choshev picture. That's a muchrach. Nope. Unbelievable. Didn't print it. Okay, so we'll just show you the second best picture. The second, just to make sure Taka didn't, because there's a lot going on here. No, didn't print it. Okay. Basically, they had a beautiful picture of the aliyah, the tail, the chelev. It was just set up beautifully. You saw each piece individual. You take all those. These are the imurim. If anybody was wondering what imurim are, so here you have shtei hakloyos, the 2 kidneys, v'chelev hakloyos, and the fat right above it. Yiseres hakaved, it's part of the liver, and the chelev asher ala kerev, the chelev that's on the bottom, chelev machasas hakerev. Here all this, you throw it you put it nicely into a bowl. You take that bowl, and what do you do with it? You makdir it on the mizbeach here. He tosses it onto the fire. So says the Gemara, you tear it open, you put into that kli, that bowl, laktirum, and then you toss it on the mizbeach. Says the Gemara, the guy that tears open the animal, he's the guy that puts it on the mizbeach. How's it possible? He's down there, they're up there, there's millions of things going on. Says the Gemara, he doesn't do it. It says so that somebody else could toss it on his back. So you take the skin off And now you're left with a carbon on the one hand, the skin on the other hand. But you have to go home. You have to roast this thing. What do? Picture. You take the animal, you put the animal back inside the skin. The skin is like a bag, the hide. And then you toss it and you put it on your shoulder. Omar Avilish, tayos. You don't just you do it like an Arab. You put it like this on the back of your shoulder. So the Yavitz, it's brought down in the Mesifta. The Yavitz says that the Gemara is telling us a beautiful idea here. You're taking the mitzvah and you're putting it on your body. You're being mevayish yourself. You're putting down your kavod. And he brings the pasuk of David HaMelech. When David HaMelech was dancing, mefazes u'mecharker, he was jumping up and down and dancing, and Michal was embarrassed by him, and he told her, "U'nkaloisi oid mezois." I wish I could be even more humble. I could humble myself more, the kavod Hashem. It's not a problem to put a dirty animal full of blood, because that's our mitzvah. That's the carbon Pesach. I'm putting it on my beautiful Brioni suit, on my shirt, on my white shirt. I'm getting all bloody and I'm walking home. It's an unbelievable, beautiful thing. Hadron aloch tamid nishchat. Hadron aloch tamid nishchat. Hadron aloch tamid nishchat. Elu dvorim ba Pesach doichnes haShabbos. This year, and we need to learn these halachas. We need to know what can we do this year when Mashiach comes, when Erev Pesach falls out on a Shabbos. What could you be Mechal Shabbos for, what not? Says the Gemara, Shchitasoi, Elu dvorim Pesach doichnes haShabbos. Shchitasoi, okay? We know what Shchita looks like. Here it is. Picture it in your head. Ma'am Shchita with Kabbalah. Here's, you could even see they have the hook in the ground. They had these little rings that were complete circles, and they fit into the stone, and they went around the animal, and it caught the animal's neck. Uzrika's damoi, that we saw. Here's Rika. Here's a beautiful picture again from Kol HaLashon, which, by the way, the shir is also on Kol HaLashon. Gary, did you figure that out? Are we on Kol HaLashon? We transmit it to Kol HaLashon. Sometimes people have a problem finding it there. But if you look closely, one of them is a silver baziach, one of them is a gold baziach. You take it and you pour it that it hits the yisoid of the mizbeach, the base of the mizbeach. Sorry, Reuven, I know Reuven is thinking to himself, all this, today's daf, you can take some stuff out, it's fine. To take all these things, to be makter, the fats that we showed before. Umichui, what's this michui kravov? Here it is. Couldn't do any better than this. You take the intestines are full of, you know what, the waste, and you got to take the waste out. You squeeze it out. It's not proper, there should be waste. When you put it, give it to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Melech Malchei Amlachim. Here it is with a knife, he's just squeezing like a tube of toothpaste. Kishkis. And just remind me, I said over yesterday after Shia, I'll tell you, because I just said toothpaste. I was making a sale. Yeshua Enterprise is doing a sale in the house in Skokie. He's selling his grandmother. That's why he's not here for a month already. Come on, a month. He's going to be away for a month. Anyway, so in Eretz Yisrael, when we left Eretz Yisrael after 3 years, I put up signs everywhere. Sunday, big sale. Maisa Shahaya, big sale. A guy comes knocking on the door on Friday afternoon. I said, but it's Sunday. He says, I'm a chassan. I can't. I'm not going to be available. I said, Sunday, sorry. It's just Sunday. Kids on Motzei Shabbos, knock on the door. Same guy. I'm a chassan. Come on, I'm a chassan. Let me see. Just let me. Sunday, 3 o'clock, the sale starts. He's there, 2:55. Can I come in 5 minutes early? Yeah. He looks around. You can ask my wife. Maisa Shaya. He walks out with a 90% finished tube of toothpaste. There was only 10% left. It was rolled up, and I was selling it. I also sold my roll-on deodorant, which I no longer use roll-on, but I sold that and somebody bought it. I said, it's used. No problem. It's from America. I want the... Anyways, that's what the chassan took. Fine. So this just reminded me of the toothpaste. You know, you go like this. You go all the way to the end. Bye to young. That's why he knocked on my door 3 times, so you could get that thing of toothpaste. Zog the Gemara. That's michui kravov. That's michui kravov, to take out the waste from the intestines. V'aktorach. Avotz liyosoi. But these are things that you can't do before Shabbos. So you do it on Shabbos, Doicha Shabbos. What? You talk this, the Michui part? You're asking preparation, waste, garbage, squeezing, I don't know.
Some say it's a problem of Memachik and some say it's a problem of Dash.
Dash. Right, that's what it is. I even have it, you know what? It's in my Gemara here, right here. That it's like separating the tfuah, the shaft. What did I call it? Shaft? Shaft. The shaft. Chaff. Oh, chaff. That's what it is. Chaff. Chaff from the grain. Right. Thank you, Noam. To roast. And to rinse. Here we have a picture. Here the guy is rinsing. What exactly is he rinsing? These are the hemses and the Beis HaKoisos. Beautiful. If you look at it, the design is incredible. How it is inside the animal. It's like it looks like a honeycomb, and each one has different design, and it works the food in a different way. This washing it out, not. Why not? To carry an animal like this guy is doing, and the reason why I printed this picture because everybody knows what it is to carry an animal. But first of all, Chaim says there's no real issa to carry an animal on Yom Tov, on Shabbos. Why? It carries itself. But it's a shvus. But I wanted to point out that this, Rabbi Isai, because in a few months we're going to go out buying these, you should know you don't have to just buy a white sheep. You could buy a brown goat. It's also part of Korban Pesach. It works. And bringing it outside of the tchum also is the rabbanon. Remember, Noam, when we discussed the sugya of the wart, if it's a wet wart, I know you love that sugya, the wet wart and the dry wart. The dry one is not such a problem. That does not push off Shabbos. These three things that are covered to carry the animal and the wart and the tchum are doichen Shabbos. So he says, Shchita, it's Issa Deraisa on a regular Shabbos to Shech. You're taking away the neshama. Elu Shem Mishum Shvus LeYidchas Shabbos Issa Derabanan, and it pushes off. The Shchita pushes off Shabbos today for Korban Pesach. So certainly something that's Issa Derabanan should push off Shabbos. Omar Le Rabbi Yeshua Yantav Yechiach. These are the Rabbeim of Rabbi Kiva, Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Yeshua Yantav Yechiach. You're not allowed to carry, let's say, out of tchum, but you're allowed to do a malacha for bishul. You're allowed to do issa deraisa, but you're not allowed to do tchum. I love this lashon. Don't remember such a lashon. What are you talking about, Yeshua? Ma raya rishus lemitzvah. I'm telling you about Korban Pesach. We're dealing with the Korban Pesach. You're allowed to be mechal Shabbos for Korban Pesach and do shchitas. I'm telling you, you're also allowed to carry, do the other things that are the rabbah. You're telling me, Stam, bring me from that a mitzvah? Hey, here comes the Talmud. When I sprinkle somebody that's a tmei mace, he touched a corpse, and he has to bring a Korban Pesach erev Yom Tov, and I spray him with the mechatas. That will prove it. It's a mitzvah to get this guy ready for Korban Pesach, and it's only the Rabbanon. Why you misakin niruk misakin gaber, says Rashi. It looks as if I'm fixing a human being. But it doesn't push off Shabbos. So Rabbi Kiva knew that Hazah doesn't work, and therefore it's a raya that you don't push off Shabbos, do it beforehand. Don't have any wonderment on these things. The Rabbanan cannot push off Shabbos, even though it's for Korban Pesach. You don't do the Rabbanan for Shabbos. That's exactly my thing. I want to say, says Rabbi Eliezer, that Hazah does push off. And it didn't if Shchita pushes off, that's a Issa Deraisa. So certainly it's the Rabbanon. Fine, we'll stop over here, even though it's one Inyan. We'll pick it up tomorrow from the top of Amud Aleph, Samach Vav Amud Aleph. Have a wonderful day. Addi Yishmo b'koli din. Yosef.